This is a video getting you started working in Fusion 360. Fusion 360 is a great design program that is free for students and educators and allows you to design a multitude of different objects and actually make them using computer-controlled tools. Hopefully you've gotten a valid subscription and you've also downloaded the program on your computer. However, that's obviously the first and the most difficult step to getting to this point right here. Once you're in, I want to show you a few things. First of all, if you see up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you may see a subscription issue over here. If you have that, let me know, and I can let you know how to go about fixing that. The next thing to do is to save a file and kind of understand the file structure a little bit. So I'm going to go to File Save or Save As, and I'm going to create a project. I click this little menu here to open this and make sure that you are creating a new project, and I would call this engineering design or something like that. After you've created that project, click Save. I'm not going to do it because I don't want another one in my folder right now. And then I'm going to save in that location by selecting it down here once you can see it's in your project. I'm using my general folder, and I'm going to call this designing a block as my first thing. So here we go. Now to open this file and find it again, you can find it in here in your projects under Home in your projects, and you can see the most recent one up at the top here. Notice that you're not saving it in admin project, which is the default. If you save it in admin project, it's going to be difficult to find later. Okay, now I've got my file open and I'm ready to do a few tasks. The first thing we want to do is to change your document settings into inches. So on here we can go down arrow next to your browser in document settings and go into units and click on the little pad here. And we're going to change our units from inches into inches from millimeters. Next thing you can do is to make that happen every time. To go into your name and preferences, and then under the preferences window you can click on design, and you can change your units in here. Oh, is it on design? Oh no, you just set it as default over here. I'm sorry. Just right here when you do set as default, that's all you need to do right there. Okay, now we're going to design your first block. So in here we've got your create menu, automate, which we're not going to use much, but it's a cool thing that Fusion 360 can do, is design automatically. Modify is where you change shapes that you've already made. Assemble is where you put different components together into a larger assembly. Construct is where you work with geometry to find planes and lines to work with your design. Inspect is where you can see how measure things and show more complicated types of measurements. Insert, where you can bring in outside files to work from, and your selection menu here that can help you with what type of selecting you're doing. This is your browser here, which is where all of your parts are going to show up, and this is your timeline down here, which is where everything that you do is going to be in a long timeline. This is your view cube you can use to orbit around, and this is your grids and snaps. You can put on your layout grid and turn it off, and snap to grid or not snap to grid if you want to grab a different spot down here. Okay, the next step is to add an object in here. So in the create menu, you can create three-dimensional forms from nothing. Going to create and box, and then we're going to click on one of these planes. Here's a plane right here. The bottom plane is the one to start with. Click on the origin next, which is this where the red and the green line intersect in your X and Y axes. And then you can click randomly out to the upper right quadrant there, or the right quadrant. And we can change our size. Our length should be 8. Our width should be 3, and our height should be 1 for the block that you're starting with. Now I can show you orbiting. So if you're using a mouse, which I recommend you do, I'll have mice for our class to use, you're going to click the scroll wheel to pan back and forth. You're going to use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out, and where your mouse is matters in terms of where you're zooming to. And then you can also hold Shift on your keyboard and click the mouse to orbit. You can do all these things on your laptop by putting one finger on the screen to orbit, 2 fingers on the screen to pan, and scrolling out and in with 2 fingers on your trackpad as well. This is all I want you guys to do today, is create this one block and turn in a screenshot of it. So if you can take a screenshot that includes your name signed up here. Well, it looks like that's different this year. You can't see BH up there anymore. Anyway, just take a screenshot of your design using a Windows key snipping tool, and take a screenshot of the item, and we're going to paste that into the document for the assignment. All right, let me know if you have any questions.